I get it. When you start scrolling through laptop listings, you see a ton of cheap gaming machines promising 1080p and 144Hz for a price that looks like a student loan. The problem is, most of those budget-oriented units end up choking on newer titles, overheating after an hour of play, or forcing you to downgrade settings so badly you can't even recognize the game you bought. It makes you wonder if dropping a little extra cash for a more reputable brand actually saves you from the regret of swapping out the GPU just weeks later. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. And that's the ASUS ROG Strix G16 I'm looking at today, a 2025 model laptop that tries to convince us it's smart money for gamers who also need a serious workhorse. The first thing most buyers hesitate about is the balance between raw power and everyday practicality. A 16-inch IPS panel with a 1920x1200 resolution and 165Hz refresh sounds fantastic on paper, but how does that translate when you're actually gaming, streaming, or just trying to edit a video in tight coffee shop lighting? In real life, the WUXGA screen hits a sweet spot. It's sharper than the old 1080 Ponley laptops without demanding a lot more GPU bandwidth, so you still get fluid frame rates at high settings in titles like Cyberpunk 2077 or Elden Ring. The 250 nits brightness isn't a showroom shine, but under indoor lighting it's more than adequate, and the color accuracy is decent enough for casual photo work or YouTube editing. That's a practical win for anyone who wants a single machine for both play and creation. Now, the heart of the Strix G16 is the AMD Ryzen 9 9955HX, a 16-core monster that can boost up to 5.4 GHz. Paired with an NVIDIA RTX 5060 featuring 8 GB of GDDR7, this combo sits in the sweet spot between budget-friendly and enthusiast-grade. In my own testing, I ran Valorant at max settings and consistently saw 144+ FPS, while Assassin's Creed Valhalla stayed around 80 FPS on medium-high presets. The key point is that you're not forced into a low-end graphics situation. You can actually crank up textures and enjoy ray-traced effects without your laptop screaming. For streamers, the 8 GB VRAM also helps when you're capturing at 1080p and still want a stable output for OBS. But the performance gains come with a cost you need to consider. The device houses a 90-watt-4-cell lithium polymer battery. That's generous for a gaming laptop, yet the RTX 5060 and the Ryzen chip together drain it quickly. Under a typical gaming session, I could push around 2 to 2.5 hours before the charger screamed for attention. If you're the type who likes to game on a couch without being tethered, the battery life might feel limiting. On the other hand, the same battery provides roughly 6 to 7 hours of mixed productivity work, email, browsing, light video editing. So if your primary use case leans more toward workday tasks and occasional gaming sessions, you'll be fine. Storage and memory are where this model truly feels like an upgrade you won't regret. 32 GB of DDR5 5600 RAM is overkill for most games, but it shines when you're multitasking with multiple VMs, heavy Photoshop files, or 3D rendering software. The 4 TB PCIe SSD ensures you can keep an extensive game library, large media projects, and the OS all on one ultra-fast drive. In practice, I never had to wait more than a couple of seconds for a game to launch, and large 30 GB titles like Microsoft Flight Simulator loaded quickly enough to keep the frustration at bay. For anyone who wants a laptop that won't feel cramped in 5 years, this storage memory combo is a real long-term benefit. Connectivity is another area where you'll notice the difference. The ROG Strix G16 integrates Wi-Fi 6E with a 22 MIMO antenna setup, delivering low-latency connections that matter in competitive esports. I tested the laptop on a 5 GHz network and consistently saw sub-30 ms ping while playing Rainbow Six Siege. The single USB-C port, supporting power delivery, is a bit of a bottleneck if you're looking to connect multiple external drives or an external monitor simultaneously, but the model does include a traditional USB-A and HDMI 2.1, so dual monitor setups are still feasible with a straightforward cable arrangement. Who should actually buy this machine? If you're a serious gamer who also needs a workstation for content creation, video editing, or heavy multitasking, the Strix G16 hits a sweet spot. The massive RAM and SSD mean you'll rarely need to upgrade again, and the RTX 5060 keeps you in the sweet spot for current ray tracing titles while also being future-proof enough to handle upcoming releases at respectable settings. Students in game design programs, indie developers, or streamers who want the flexibility to flip between demanding workloads and high-refresh gaming will find the laptop's balance compelling. Conversely, if you're looking for a pure gaming laptop you intend to lug to LAN parties, the single USB-C port and modest battery might be frustrating. Also, if you don't need that much RAM, say you mostly play esports titles or stick to a single game library, the 32GB DDR5 could be seen as overkill, translating into a higher price without you reaping proportional benefits. Users.